guys, welcome everybody. I'm excited to introduce my special guest and someone that is a close friend, a business partner, someone that I have seen personally crush it in multiple industries, and someone that's not just a good entrepreneur, he's just a world-class dude. So welcome, Austin, man. I'm excited to have you here. Austin Netzley,
Hey, thank you, Peter. I'm pumped, man. Let's give some value.
Yeah, that's both of our main focuses is value. So we had a great idea to talk about. I want to introduce you to people, to the few people who don't know who you are. And we're just going to vibe on what we do differently, like in our early 20s. And to be honest, it's almost what we do differently like at 18, 19, because people are starting young these days. So for you, you've been successful. You've made the millions. You've also been at the bottom, struggling, frustrated, lacking confidence. Can you talk real quick about, simplify your story, just so people know who you are and kind of where you came from and what got you to where you are today, and then we'll dive into the lessons and stuff like that. So who's Austin Netzley?
For sure. So grew up in Ohio, went to school, thought I wanted to be a CEO of a large company, went down the corporate path and realized a couple years in that I was in a system and I had big dreams, big goals, wanted to make a lot of money, do everything else, have some freedom. And just wasn't going to be able to accomplish that in the corporate world. So I started my first side business, which was day trading, investing world, and built that up, then traveled around the world for 18 months, then started my next endeavor, which was a hobby, which led to a book, which led to some success with that book. So now I'm doing book marketing. So I've run the full gamut in 10 years, but definitely opened up my whole new world as an entrepreneur and haven't looked back.
So you quit a job that you were crushing it at as far as income goes, and you traveled the world to kind of shift your perspective, to become more self-aware.
Yep.
And then you wrote a book based on something you're extremely passionate about. You got expert advice. The book crushed it. And then you started working with high-level people after you proved the concept. So some of the people you work with are pretty amazing. Brian Tracy being one of them. A lot of big names that we don't need to go through all of them. But where did for you the vision of wanting to do things on your terms? I mean, you're making multiple seven figures. I mean, you're chilling right now. You just worked out in the middle of the day. You have like you don't have a suit and tie on. You have a chill Under Armour shirt on right now. What gave you that, like, the ambition and the hunger to be like, forget this six-figure job, I'm doing my own thing?
Honestly, it was just starting to read. I didn't start reading until I was about 24 or 25. I went into a sales job, and basically I was in a management development program. And the third role in that program was you get out in sales. So they take engineers, nerds like me, and they get you out into the quote unquote real world to get you some experience and get you to communicate and whatnot. So I get out there, I'm ready to crush it. And my boss is like, hold on, slow down. We're going to transition you into this role slowly. And I'm like, no, let's go. Let's do something. Let's crush it. And finally, he relented and gave me some work, and he gave me 3 books. He said, go read these on the beach. And I was in Jacksonville, Florida at the time. And at first I was pissed. I was like I want to go sell.
It's not school.
Yeah, I want to get up to number 1. And finally I went and realized this was an awesome opportunity. A guy just gave me books, and I'm getting paid for it. I'm on the beach, and I'm just living life, and I'm 24 years old. And I went and read those first books, and I was just hooked. And then I went and got my library card. I devoured every single audiobook I could, every single nonfiction, self-help, personal development, money, investing, finance book that I possibly could. And with every single book that I read, it just opened up this whole new world that previously I didn't know even existed. I grew up in middle class America where I just knew the corporate world, and that's it.
In Ohio,
so when
right?
I started in Ohio. So when I started in the cornfields, and when I started to learn from like Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki and Tim Ferriss, all these other people, I was just like, holy cow, there's this new thing that I can like make more money, have more freedom, make a much bigger impact, create a legacy. I'm like, I'm doing that. So as soon as I started to learn about those possibilities, I started to explore them, started to put what I learned into action, started my first company, had some good success with it, build it up, and then that allowed me to have the freedom.
So I just wanted to get that. Some people don't have the awareness. They don't have the book. They don't have someone. So it's funny that he didn't want you to leave and start your own thing, but he didn't realize that he gave you the books to actually do that, which is pretty crazy. So I love that. So let's just dive in. And I've seen you in the trenches. You operate at a world-class level in your businesses. You attract some of the best clients. People have paid you 10 to 50 grand. That's a lot of money. But the reason they do is they can expect way more on the back end. You've personally helped me make over $250,000 for my book and some other stuff, right? So there's a lot of proven results. So we don't need to dive into that. I just want people to know with my audience, I will not even get near someone as far as a podcast, bringing them to you guys unless they are like executing at the highest level results wise. So for you, I'll start with me. One of the biggest things in my early 20s and 19, 20 years old that I didn't know the power of cutting my learning curve in half by learning from somebody else that already made the mistakes. I learned that when I was 23, 24, which is still young, but I could have learned that at 19 or 20. I'd be 3 or 4 years ahead. So I think even paying people to cut your learning curve in half, to have anticipation of what could happen so they could maybe help you not make those mistakes, was a big game changer for me. And then two, and then we'll go to you. I wish I realized that you shouldn't fear people. You should drop the need to be liked. And if you really know yourself, I didn't know myself growing up. I was always trying to impress. I gave respect to anyone who had a nice car, who got girls, who dressed nice. And I didn't realize that respect needs to be earned from being a world-class human being, not just on the outside. So I wish I would have learned early that it's not about impressing people. It's not about trying to please people. It's about being yourself. And you might offend some people, but the right people will love the real you. Those are two things that stood out, and there's a lot more. But I wish I would have learned that at a very early age, as well as taxes and real estate and confidence and emotional intelligence. But what I learned in school was Christopher Columbus and the Pythagorean theorem, which that panned out well. Anyways, so for you, what are like one or two things that you wish someone would have grabbed you, like when you were 19 and been like, Austin, listen? What are those things?
Well, you said learn from people so that you can shorten your learning curve. Well, the number one thing that probably held me back was listening to the wrong people at first.
Yeah, that's
people
the opposite. Yeah.
Exactly. They don't. If somebody doesn't have the bank account that you want someday, don't listen to them. Yep. Just like nod and smile.
And they
just
usually have the most opinions. That's the problem.
They have the most opinions. But if we just if somebody just took me at 18 years old, looked me in the eyes and said, don't listen to anybody that's broke for career advice or finance advice, and trust me, you'd be well ahead of where I am today. That's number one. Number two is I would quit college. Actually, I would have gone a year and partied and got comfortable with girls and played football, and then I would have quit because I came out of college. I had $81,000 worth of debt, and I just started the world in the wrong way. And again, now, if I went back, I would know about entrepreneurship. I would know about some different things, but I would take just a totally different career path. I would go work for a startup or a fast-moving company just to see behind the scenes of how a corporation worked, and then I'd get some sales experience, and then I'd quit. But it wouldn't take me until I was 27 years old to do that. It would take me until I was probably 22 to do that.
Shave off 5 years of your life of the mistakes and not knowing really what you wanted to do. And I think for me too is figuring out your strengths and your genius of where you could bring the most value. I think what a lot of people do, and I did it when I was newer, is they hear that they have to figure out who they are and get clarity on what they want. And when they don't get clarity, they just settle. And they see someone that they like and respect. Oh, I want to do what he does. But they don't realize that they're living incongruently because maybe their biggest value is flexibility and family, but they're taking on something that they're working 80 hours a week, so they're living incongruently. So I think for me too, I would have got clarity on who I was, what my strengths were, what my weaknesses were way early on, because I think the ultimate power is knowing your strengths and weaknesses and then leveraging those and hiring a team that complemented my weaknesses as well. And that's how I built the 6 months to 6 figures framework. Is I didn't know who I was. I was broke and frustrated and discouraged. And I didn't know it was a framework at the time, but I did the 6 things I talk about in the book to make 6 figures in 5 months. Then I realized I could do it in different industries, but I did that when I was 23. Yes, it was young, but I could have done that at 17, 18, 19, 20 if I would have known these things. So I had these things happen at a younger age, so I'm fortunate. But if someone's watching and they're 19 or someone's watching and they're 47, there's no regret in life, just experience and lessons. But just listen to these things we're talking about so you don't make the same mistakes anymore. You know what I mean? So exactly. I want to talk about 6 months to 6 figures because you've done it in multiple industries too. And our frameworks are different, which is super cool. So what would you say are a couple big steps for you on if someone's broke and frustrated, they don't know where to start, And you created a super cool blueprint that I wanted to be a part of. So we partnered on some stuff, but let's just add free value on how to make your first 1,000 in 30 days, right? And how to make sure, what's the other thing that you talk about? How to figure out what you want to do, or your idea generator. You have a lot of cool things you've created. So let's simplify. What are some keys that you did to go from like not making six figures in entrepreneurship to making six figures? What are the must-dos?
Well, one of the first things that comes to mind is just really breaking down the numbers. I mean, we all have these big, ambitious dreams. Like, we want to be a millionaire. Like, at the age of, like, before I was 18, I decided I'm going to be a millionaire someday. But that's like a general goal. Yeah. So what you have to do is break it down to something specific that you can take action on, because as we know, like, dreams is nothing without action, right? So it took me until, again, my mid-20s to my late 20s before I started to like really take the proper action. So breaking down that goal, let's say it's six figures, into something that you can attack.
Tangible.
Whether that's something tangible that's like you can feel, that you can actually obtain, because you want to set yourself up for success. Like, you don't want to try to make $1 million in a month if you've never made $1 million before, right? Otherwise, you'll just quit and go back to what's safe.
And you set yourself up for failure. I've done that before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So break down the numbers into something that you can like aim for. That's why we talk about.
Give an example.
That's why we talk about how to get to your first $1,000 in 30 days. Because if you make that first $1,000, it's much easier to get to than $10,000 or $100,000 after that. But it doesn't matter at all until you make that first $1,000. So once you get into motion, you're going to get the most powerful thing on your side, which is momentum. If you have momentum, you can become unstoppable. But just getting that initial traction is what we, like Peter, you and I help so many people do now, because we've realized through our own experience and through helping hundreds of individuals privately that that's the hardest part of all. Just get to that first $1,000.
Love it. And so is there anything else that you would tell them, like if they can leave this call or leave this video with like, so break down the numbers. Is there anything else that you did tactically to get you to six figures from really not knowing much about entrepreneurship? Is there any other like steps that you took? You broke down the numbers, then what?
The number one thing was joining different communities. And if you start to like just think like an entrepreneur, like I would write down ideas every single day. And I would just all of a sudden start to see these different opportunities where I could make a lot of money, because we think often at first that we need this $1 million idea and we're like trying to like think it and make it happen. But all the ideas are right in front of you, right? All that you have to do is kind of look at your current situation, talk to some people, see where there's a gap, and you're going to find literally thousands of different ways that you can make a lot of money. Just by getting out there in a bigger way has you become aware of those different opportunities. So build that entrepreneur muscle as far as thinking like an entrepreneur, seeing problems, seeing how you can help create solutions. And once you do that, there's no going back, all right? You're going to start to see how you can literally make millions of dollars, create a bigger legacy, create a bigger impact on the world, and all the opportunities are there, like I said.
I love it. So let's give some ideas. We both have a lot of ideas. We've gone through them. We've tried them. We've failed. We've succeeded. We've seen a lot of other people succeed. And honestly, in this new economy, there's never been a better time in human history to create and design your ideal lifestyle. Too many people are taking what's given. The reason I wanted to get you on this video, just straight up being very blunt, is you have a lot of proven ideas on how to make six figures based on your strengths. So let's give them like 5 or 10. And I know I'm putting you on the spot. Like, there's no preparation. I didn't give you like, hey, I'm going to ask you this. But what are like some ideas people can think about on how to make their first 1,000 or even how to make their first six figures? Let's just dive into some tactical ideas.
Oh, man, so many. You can do consulting. Consulting is one of the best things that you can possibly do to make a lot of money. If you want to get started out and you don't know what to do necessarily, potentially look at coaching. Now, why is that such a great thing to start with? Because you get into the weeds. You start to understand like those people that you're working with in detail. What are their problems? What are their needs? And also, what are some possible solutions that you can have? Coaching's not like truly scalable because it's hour for hour. But at first, all you're looking for is how you can learn, how you can ultimately offer some type of opportunity. So that's another great one. Residual income streams, like creating a book.
Sometimes they need to realize that their six figures won't be their seven figures. That's just warming up their entrepreneur muscle. What got me six figures, I didn't make seven figures doing that. I made seven figures, like added up, but I didn't make online's different than doing sales and marketing and some other stuff I did. So people need to realize these ideas that you say that might not be fully scalable, it doesn't matter. They can still make 6 figures doing it. Good call. Keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything has to be kind of a stepping stone of where you want to go eventually. And if you look at my career path that we opened up with, Peter, I've done engineering, investing, writing, and book marketing. None of those are related in any way, shape, or form. All I did was move forward and see some awesome opportunities. And guess what? Make multiple 6 figures in every single one of those, right? So I was talking about ideas. Books. Yeah. I love books because they're residual income. You do them once and you can make money on them over and over and over and over and over again. Investing. There's real estate investing. There's stock market investing. There's hard money loans that you can do, all of which you and I both do. There is speaking. Speaking is such a great thing. But the thing that I want you guys to think about is that you should have multiple streams of income, and they should all in some way, shape, or form feed or support one another. Like, for instance, what we work with authors is they have a book, they do speaking, they have online programs, they have different joint venture partnerships. They do all these different things that support one another, and that's how you get to multiple 7 figures per year. The average millionaire, Peter, has how many streams of income?
I think 7, right?
7.
7, yeah.
And the average individual has more streams of debt than they do of income.
Can't get over
so you just need to flip that on its head and really add those different income streams one at a time, have them support each other, and you can do some amazing things.
I love it. And it's so crucial. And what people don't realize is right now you might not have the idea. You have to do your research and due diligence. We can't sit here for 10 hours and sit with you until you have the perfect idea. You got to do your due diligence. And the magic word here, guys, is until. You have to figure out what you want to make your first 1,000 with until you actually figure out the idea. Test it, experience it, test it. And people, I think they just give up too easy. Then they go to the settling. Oh, I'll just get a job where someone else tells me what I'm worth and what to do. And I don't want that for people. My number one obsession is helping people live life on their terms. And you love helping people do the same. So, I mean, I'd love...
Real quick. The only thing that you have to do is just move forward in a direction of the vision of the life that you want to create. So you talk about getting clear on that vision, Peter, getting clear on like what that reason why, like what's that life look like? If you have that burning desire, if it's strong enough, it's going to push you forward. And the thing is, if you're moving forward, if you open one door, guess what's on the other side of that door? 3 more opportunities, right? 3 more doors. You go through those 3 doors, and guess what's on the other side of that? 5 more doors. So you don't have to get it all figured out right away. You just have to be moving forward. You have to be on your path of wealth.
Hold on. You don't realize your brilliance. You're not sitting there smiling like you should be. Here's what you got to realize, and that holds a lot of people back. They think they have to know everything before they go through the doors.
Yeah.
They don't. So go through. You're going to figure it out as you go through it. If you need to know everything before you take on an opportunity, good luck in this economy.
Yep.
Right? So I love it, man. And you put together some resources and I did. We put a lot of time. You made, and I can't remember exactly, how to make your first 1,000 in 30 days. And also, what was the other thing that you created?
How to quit your job in 6 months. So if you are in a job right now and you want to get out of it, which you probably should if you want to make more money or more impact, we've got kind of the roadmap that we've put together, Peter, like from both our own experiences as well as working with so many different people. That's, again, just step by step. And people get overwhelmed so often. So what we've done is really simplify that process, give them a step-by-step strategy that they can implement.
And the reason that you created it, and I partner with you, which I partner, if 100 opportunities come to me, I maybe choose one. Yep. And I wanted to partner with you because you've practiced what you preach. But the number one question I get, there's 1 or 2 questions I get every single day, whether it's through Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And it's, what do I do? I don't like my job. I don't like what I do. I want to quit. I want to start my own business. So let's give them the resource. Is it 6m6f.com they can go to right now?
Yes, you can go to 6m6f.com or you can go to 6m6f.com/quit if you want to sign up for the free video training series. Now, this is deep dive stuff, and we're going to give you like a PDF that you can fill out.
1,000,000% free, by the way, guys.
1,000,000% free. It is like great quality stuff. We just got everything back, and it's great training. It's awesome. 6m6f.com/quit for that series. And we also teach people, if you want to become an entrepreneur and make your first $1,000, we're going to show you how to do it in your first 30 days. Because again, if you can start to make that first $1,000, that's how you get to $10,000. That's how you get to then $100,000 to $1 million and beyond. Just get into motion and you'll become unstoppable. And that's at 6m6f.com/1K. So that's .com/1 and then K.
And what I've realized too, as you're talking, and I'm so glad I brought you on because there's a lot of value here, is an opportunity is only an opportunity if it is taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I've just realized that, and you hit it home because you said once you actually took the opportunity, there's 3 more.
Yep.
Then there's 5 more. Most people see an opportunity, then they question it, they get into their past limitations, they don't have the confidence, they're like, I don't want to do that. No, go all in. It's now or never. Time's going to pass anyways, guys. You might as well invest in something, like he said, in moving you forward towards your vision and dreams. And that's it. So I appreciate your time, man. I hope they take advantage of the resources. I was excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to partner with you in whatever we do in the future because I know that my number one focus is giving better free content than most people pay thousands of dollars for. And my favorite thing to get on social media and on email is, hey, man, your free content, your podcast, your videos, your free video series is better than the course I paid $5,000 for. It makes my whole day. Yep. So I appreciate you being a part of it. Let's get you back on soon, man. I appreciate your time, and let's continue crushing it.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter.
All right, talk to you soon.